Hey there, movie fans. The first topic I'm going to discuss today is they released the trailer for The Marvels. Now, I'm personally really excited for this movie. I love the first Captain Marvel movie. I know a lot of people were lukewarm on it or didn't like it. I know a lot of people don't like Brie Larson, but I personally thought she was great in the role. And I think this trailer just looks really fun. I love the whole kind of like Freaky Friday, the idea of like everybody switching, instead of bodies, but switching like places. So I think that idea looks really fun and funny. I love all the characters. Like I thought Miss Marvel was great. Like I actually that was actually one of my favorite Disney Plus shows. I loved Wanda Business. I loved the Monica character in that show. And I like the idea that it's like they show this the villain has like the bracelet that's connected to the Miss Marvel base that she has that had gives her powers. So I like the idea it's like the powers are connected in that way. I think that's really cool. Apparently, in one of they released pictures for the movie too. You see scrolls in the back in one of the pictures, so I'm assuming they're going to play a role in this because I'm guessing this is going to connect to like Secret Invasion in some way. But I just think this trailer looks great. It looks like the cast have really good chemistry in the trailer to me. All three characters, and I love seeing like all three of these characters teaming up. So I personally, I'm really excited for this. Like I said, I understand a lot of people were lukewarm or didn't like Captain Marvel or just I know there's a lot of people just hate Brie Larson. Like I said, I never had a problem with her personally. Like she's never bothered me, but I just think she's great in the role. And personally, this is a movie that I'm really excited for. Next thing I want to discuss is John Boyega. He apparently is open to doing more Star Wars again, which is surprising me because back then after he did the trilogy, he was like talking about how he wasn't a fan how they handled the Finn character, his whole story arc, and they did drop the ball on his character. I thought he was set up really well in Force Awakens, and then they kind of like did nothing with him in the sequels because he had a casino plot line. Then Last Jedi, which I thought was stupid, that whole storyline, and I thought his storyline wise Skywalker was slightly better, but I still felt like they didn't really use him all that well. So I'm actually shocked that he's open to doing more Star Wars movies. This also shows to me why when actors say like because I always hear this for the actors, and if they like, if you have an actor that's done like a trilogy of movies, like an popular franchise, one actor that's done a TV show for a long time as a main character, they always say, I'm never coming back to play this character again. I always kind of go like, yeah, you say that now, but everybody changes their opinion years later. You know, there's so many actors where I go like, they say they don't want to play as a comic. They say they don't want to be part of this franchise anymore, this popular franchise, and then years later they feel differently. So I like the fact that he is open to more Star Wars stuff. I know they have the Way movie coming out, which I think is supposed to take place 15 years after the events of the sequel trilogy, and I'm thinking he's most likely gonna be in that movie in some way, shape, or form. But I'm glad he's going to come back because I did like his character. I just felt like they just didn't know what to do with him in the like Force Awakens sequel. So hopefully they come up with a better storyline for his character if he does come back at some point. But I think this is exciting news for Star Wars fans because, like I said, I think they had a good character. It's just they didn't really do anything much with him in the sequels. The next thing I want to discuss is the Blue Beetle box office. Now, I'm really excited for this movie. I think this is going to be actually a really fun, great movie. It could turn out to be shit, but if it turns out to be a really fun, great movie, I'll love to see it plugged into the new DC universe. But the box office isn't looking good. I'm still holding out hope this is going to, like, surprise at the box office. Because I think out of this and Aquaman 2, I do think Blue Beetle has a better shot at, like, doing well because of the fact this budget is in the 100 something area. It's a much lower budget than Aquaman 2's budget. They haven't had to do like a bunch of reshoots. But I'm also not shocked by the that this is looking like going to be the lowest DC opening, definitely in the DCU. If these box office distance track and turn out to be true, because you're talking about a movie that's apparently box office wise predicting right now it's going to open less than 20 million, so between like 12 and 18, and wow, that's really bad if it opens that low. Like that would be the lowest I think opening in the DCU. I don't know overall when it comes to DC films, but I think it would be the lowest opening in DCU films. Again, this just shows in my opinion that DC, like I've been saying, it never fully came together for people. Like the MCU did with the Infinity Saga. It's this universe, this DCU, the old DCU just never clicked for a lot of people. I think people are over the old DCU, like I've been saying, and this shows further proof you need a hard reset. You need to completely reboot this universe and start over. Like I know like Zack Snyder fans and just don't want to accept that. And look, there's certain DCU movies I love from the DCU, but at the end of the day, I care more about wanting a healthy DC universe that generally pleases most people and it can do well at the box office. And to me, these Blue Beetle box office predictions, if they turn out to be true, it's even more proof to show why this DC universe needs to be rebooted. But it just sucks to hear this because, like I said, I'm still really excited for Blue Beetle, and I really hope it does surprise at the box office, and I hope it turns out to be a fun, great movie. But it just sucks to keep hearing how these DC movies aren't like tracking well, and just again shows further reasons why the DC universe needed to be rebooted. Next thing I want to talk about is the release timeline for Saw X. I believe it's coming out this year. Now, I am a big Saw fan. I actually love the first three Saw movies. It's one of my favorite horror trilogy. But I gotta be honest, like I'm a little interested in Saw X, but it's not one of my most hated movies, mainly because I feel like 4 through Spiral were terrible. And I think after they killed off Jigsaw in 3, and you had that cop guy as his apprentice, I found the cop guy to be less interesting, and the storyline just got less interesting. And also, it felt like when you got into Saw 4 and beyond, the traps started to become unbelievable to the point where I felt like you wouldn't be able to survive that stuff. And it got really convoluted. I mean, it just, like, to me, the first 3 are great, and you could have just ended it right there, I would have been fine. But with the fact you didn't have Jigsaw as a main killer anymore, you had the cop guy as his apprentice as a new killer, and then you had other apprentices revealed. And the fact that something got so convoluted in the franchise, and the traps became, in my opinion, unbelievable. It just to me lost its appeal. So I mean, I hope this is. I know they tried getting this franchise back on track with the Jigsaw movie, the eighth one is Spiral, but I didn't like those either. So it's just this is a franchise where I felt like it's been beaten to death. And honestly, I think this is the franchise you should just reboot it from start. I mean, the whole idea of Saw X takes place between Saw 1 and 2 is interesting a little bit timeline wise, but I just feel like that's gonna make it more convoluted. So it's just I don't know. Like to me, this doesn't really set me on that much. Like I'm a big Saw fan. Like I said, I love the first 3 Saw movies. It's one of my favorite horror trilogies. But this is a franchise where I feel like you just need to reboot and start over from scratch. So at the end of the day, the news about its timeline doesn't really excite me all that much. I'm kind of like interested to see the movie because I love the first 3, but not overly excited for this movie. The next thing I want to talk about is at Comic Con, and this sucks with Comic Con the fact that they couldn't really promote anything with no actors. So I mean, this is definitely the probably biggest letdown Comic Con wise for me as a movie fan because I mean it's really they can only really promote like video games and like animated announced like animated stuff. But this is exciting news for me as a DC animated fan is that then that's one of the next 2 movies is a Watchmen movie and Crisis on Infinite Earths movie. Now, Crisis on Infinite Earths is a great storyline. I remember when CW DC Universe did a version of that with the last crossover, and I think it can make a great animated movie as long as they do it really well. I kind of hope they split this. I kind of hope they split this in 2 parts. Because I feel like this is the type of storyline where you need to do like a two part movie like they do with their animated movies sometimes. But I'm excited to hear this is one of the next animated movies because I do love some of the DC animated movies. They aren't all great, but overall, I have loved some of the DC animated movies. And then Watchmen, I'm excited to hear that Watchmen is going to be animated for the first time. I didn't hear whether it was going to be based on the Watchmen graphic novel or like continue after the story, will be a prequel, or what type of story they're doing. But I think it'd be cool to see Watchmen in animation for the first time. And the graphic novel was great. And I actually love the Zack Snyder Watchmen movie. That's to me an underrated comic book movie. I know when it came out, it didn't do well at the box office and got like a divided response like Man of Steel. But that's one of those movies that I love, I think, a lot more than most people. But I love the idea of doing a Watchmen animated movie. I mean, I would love to see him do an animated movie with a graphic novel. I think that would be really cool. But I just think the idea of doing an animated movie in that world would be a really cool animated movie. So I'm personally really excited for these next two DC animated movies. So that's all it needs today. Until next time, movie fans.